All right, guys, here we are back for another day of notes. These going to be really quick today because we're going to break this one up into a couple of days, but we're just going to go over some basic economic systems right now, and then your assignment for today is just going to be basically creating your perfect world or your perfect economic system, taking whatever you would want from all of the ones we talk about or any other ones that you can think of, but just kind of creating that perfect world utopian economy is going to be the assignment for today. But while we're thinking about that, let's take a look at these. For us, an economic system is basically just the process that the society is going to use to produce goods, give goods away, exchange goods for services, money, whatever it is. So the economic systems that we're looking at here, we've got first the hands-on economic systems. Those hands-on and hands-off just means in terms of the government. Hopefully you've learned a little bit about this in GovEcon, but we'll go over this again for those of us that may have missed a couple of things there. When it comes to hands-on systems, that's hands-on with the government. The government is going to be controlling a lot of maybe what is produced, who gets it, or maybe all of that. But the first one, the most common one that we know about is communism. In communism, as you can see, the government is going to control everything. They're going to tell you what to produce, they're going to tell you how much of it to produce, and then they're going to give everybody as much as they deem fit for that. And basically, the Red China and former USSR, those communist nations that kind of brought about the Red Scare back when it happened, those are the communist countries that we're talking about. And then when it comes to socialism, the socialism is still going to be hands-on, but it's not going to be as hands-on as communism. So as you can see in socialism, the government is generally going to be providing some services. So we talk a lot about socialism now in politics nowadays with wanting to give out things like healthcare or even sometimes talking about things like welfare, food stamps, things like that. But when it comes to socialism, government's going to control a lot of those services and give them out to people. Now, the key here is since the government's controlling it, we all know they're going to need to get paid to control it and to do it. So in that kind of society, generally, your taxes are going to be very high. They're going to have to be because the taxes are going to be what funds those programs and funds those services for the people who are going to be getting them and not paying for them. Because remember, the citizens are getting them technically for free, even though the citizens are paying for them with those extremely high taxes. And if you look at some of the countries in Europe, there are some countries that have 45 to 50% tax rates on what you make and then on things you purchase. So again, we may think taxes are bad now, but imagine working for $10 an hour, but really only getting paid for working for $5 an hour. That's basically what you have in some of those socialist countries. Now, the big thing with communism and socialism is going to be that ownership, as it says. When it comes to communism, you don't really own anything. You're not going to own your house. You're not going to own your factory. Generally, they're all going to be owned by the government, all controlled by the government. You're just lucky enough to be one of the people in that government who gets the benefit off of it. Now, in socialist countries, you can have ownership, but again, the issue with ownership in those countries is the taxes. So again, if you own your house, that's great, but your property taxes probably are going to be astronomical. So you better be able to make enough money to be able to pay those taxes every year as well. So those are going to be the hands-on systems. Now, when it comes to hands-off systems, those are ones that we generally work with a little bit more. We are a little laissez-faire in our capitalist society, but not truly laissez-faire. So when it comes to the hands-off systems, again, the government not going to be controlling as much. Now, when we talk about traditional systems here, we're talking about systems that are generally going to be based in religion. And if they're based in religion, then that's going to mean that those religious traditions are going to be the ones that will say what you'll produce, how much, and all of those. Generally, those are going to be a lot more of a kind of communal setting, but it is definitely possible depending on how strong the religion can be within the society. Now, when it comes to capitalists, true capitalism, as it says there, is laissez-faire. We are not. The government does have its hand in a couple of different products in a couple of different areas. We are, as we know, a free market economy, so we'll talk about that a little bit more tomorrow. We'll get into a little bit more specifics of that tomorrow. But for a true capitalist society, the people who make everything and the people who buy everything are the ones who decide how much it is. If you'll pay $20 for a loaf of bread, then the person who makes the loaf of bread is going to sell it to you for $20 or maybe even more. If you're not going to pay $20 for that, as we probably wouldn't in this day and age right now, it's not going to sell for that price. So the baker or whoever is making it is going to have to drop the price to a point where it can sell and hopefully for them make them some money. In the true capitalist society, the government does not step in and say these are what you must sell, for example, cigarettes or gas for. They say whatever the consumer decides that price is, that's what the price is. Now, there are some other forms of economic systems with anarchism, mutualism, libertarianism that focus more on rejecting that government involvement, staying hands off, and operating as more of a self-directed community. So basically just saying that whatever the people decide as is important to them is what is important to them, and then they can go for that as they please. Now, like I said, with your assignment today, that's all we're going to do for notes. We're not going to go very far with this today. You're going to now take a look at basically the ones that we've got here on this screen and any others that you can think of, but you're going to be writing a prompt, just again, 8 to 10 sentences, writing just what you would create as your perfect economy. Would you use a truly laissez-faire capitalist system? Would you go with a socialist system? Would you blend socialism and capitalism, or communism and capitalism, or communism and capitalism is going to be hard to blend, I'll be honest, but communism in some other form, or maybe capitalism in some of the other forms with traditional societies or things like that. You're just going to be coming up with, again, 8 to 10 sentences explaining what your system is and why you have chosen to go with that system that you have gone with. And just like I've said, talk about some of the things in your economy. If you choose a capitalist system, maybe why you've gone that route, or if you're going to tweak it a little bit, what are you going to do differently than the, textbook definitions say for these. Now, with that, we are going to be doing Life Happens today, so let's get over. We'll make sure we also catch up for yesterday as well. So let's get right on into that and get that pulled up for today. And that'll be it. But right now, Mimic not wanting to work as well. Let's see. There we go. Let's go to playing the game. Life Happens, and we will move that one a little bit so we can see everything. So continuing, we're going to get 6 people for today since we did miss yesterday, but we got 3 people on the Monday this week. So for these, remember, $500 hit or more, we will redraw if you got it. If not, that's what you got. And ooh, not a good start for Tyler. Tyler getting robbed there, $2,000 out of your checking account. Ooh, not a good one. No redraws there for him, so we accept that one. Second person today, Jake, man's best friend, $30 added to your monthly budget. I will tell you, that's not going to end up being more than $500 by the time this is all said and done, and who doesn't love dogs? So we'll gift you a nice little dog there. Keep you some company during the pandemic. Tucker, $80 to your checking account. Loser buys on that one. So third person for today. Now, number 4, Sam, you're up. Road trip, $500. No redraws there. So that's what you're going to take. And take a nice little road trip. Number 5, that guy, getting himself a cat. And then last but not least for today, Isabella. And deep breaths. Prescription cost $85 to your monthly budgets. And no redraw there, so we're going to keep that one. That's going to take us to class number 2. And continuing this one, we got 8 people for today. Nathan, first one up. Let's see what Nathan has got for this. MRIs are terrifying. $2,000. No redraw. So another tough bill for somebody here in period 2. Next one up, Caitlin. Go to mow the lawn, $350 for a new lawnmower. You do have a redraw, but we won't use it since $350 not gonna be a ton today. And Hudson, identity fraud, $5,000 out of the checking account. No redraws there. That's number 4. Kaylee, shop around and save. You got $300 added to your checking account for that one. Noah in at number 5. Prescriptions are expensive. $200 added to your monthly budget. No redraws for that one, so we will keep that. This kid working overtime there. $100 added to the kid's account. Carson coming in at number 7. Man's best friend. Another person getting themselves a dog during the pandemic. And then last but not least today, Morabito learning that real men cook. And $150 for cooking lessons for that one. So with that being said, you do have your assignment. It'll be posted in Google Classroom as well. Again, 8 to 10 sentences at the very least explaining your perfect economic system that you would create or use. If you want to use one of the ones that has already been created, just explain why you would be using that. If you do want to blend a couple of them, then go for it and just explain what you're going to be doing as you blend, what you're going to pick from each of the systems that we've talked about today, and then why you would have chosen to do them would be another good reason or a good thing to say as well. So with that, we will see you tomorrow. We'll continue on in the notes. And with that, make sure you check out the news conference today at 11 o'clock, as there is going to be a major announcement today for the rest of the school year. We don't know what it is, but if it all stays the course, we'll see you next Friday.